Do you now have to start thinking about maybe calling an election before something happens?
I am not focused on politics. I'll let other parties focus on politics.
Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. Today we're talking about Jagmeet Singh breaking his coalition deal with Justin Trudeau. We never thought this day would be coming. Why am I standing up here on top of a mountain? Well, I'm out here filming a video for my Rather Be Hiking YouTube channel, my other one. And this is where I found out about it. So I'm going to be heading home. Today, Jagmeet Singh has broken his coalition deal with Justin Trudeau. Now, let's go over what this really means. Are we going to an election? We've got multiple clips from multiple different sources here. So let's start off with Jagmeet's actual video announcing this.
Today, I notified the Prime Minister that I've ripped up the supply and confidence agreement. Canadians are fighting a battle for the future of the middle class. Justin Trudeau has proven again and again he will always cave to corporate greed. The Liberals have let people down. They don't deserve another chance. There is an even bigger battle ahead. The threat of Pierre Poilievre and conservative cuts from workers, retirees, from young people, from patients, from families. He will cut in order to give more to big corporations and wealthy CEOs. The fact is, the Liberals are too weak, too selfish, and too beholden to corporate interests to fight for people. They cannot be the change. They cannot restore the hope. They cannot stop the conservatives, but we can.
No, you can't, Jagmeet. I had to remove the music out of here. It's really hokey music. They have all this uplifting music. It's just ridiculous. Jagmeet is not the hope. No one trusts you, Jagmeet. Nobody's going to vote for you. You're losing your support. Jagmeet's posturing and pretending he's like the man of the people. He's not. This is Rolex Robin Hood here.
In the next federal election, Canadians will choose between Pierre Poilievre's callous cuts or hope. Hope that when we stand united, we win. That Canada's middle class will once again thrive together. In Canada, we take care of our neighbors. That's who we are. I've embraced that value my whole life. I'm running for Prime Minister because together we can and will stop conservative cuts. We can deliver relief and restore hope, fix healthcare, build homes you can afford, stop price gouging. It's always impossible until it isn't. It can't be done until someone does it. If we're together, nothing is impossible. And we won't let them tell us it can't be done. Big corporations and wealthy CEOs have had their government. It's the people's time.
This message is ridiculous. And something to note, why would he pick a yellow turban when he's an orange party? Why not put an orange turban on? Wouldn't that make more branding sense? Anyways, he'll continue without the agreement smoke and mirrors. So let's jump into that. So first off, CTV breaks this down a little bit here.
This is a massive announcement from the NDP today, Todd. Cutting off the deal with the Liberals months ahead of when it was supposed to expire is Singh saying essentially he no longer thinks his ties to the Liberals are politically advantageous. In this video, clearly he is setting out the next campaign as an argument to Canadians to either vote for his party or the Conservatives, essentially saying the Liberals have proved that they will not fight for the middle class, that they are too selfish and too weak to do that. So quite a message there from the NDP. And Todd, I can tell our audience a bit more about what we're learning behind the scenes about how the NDP came to this decision. So we have heard that the caucus came to a consensus that they were going to pull out of this deal with the Liberals earlier this summer. The timing on this, Todd, is key because they are saying to us that this agreement was made and this video, which frankly was actually shot just behind us here, was filmed before Poilievre came out last week and put that pressure on NDP leader Jagmeet Singh to pull out of the deal. Poilievre was trying to get him to pull out, vote non-confidence, and trigger an election. Now,
this is important to note because this just makes Jagmeet Singh look like he's doing what Pierre Poilievre said. It makes Jagmeet look like he's a little minion of Pierre Poilievre. It doesn't make him look like a leader.
Just because the NDP have backed out of this two-party agreement with the Liberals now does not mean the country is headed towards a federal election. It does mean it could be more likely. The Liberals now have to go case-by-case basis on their votes to get their agenda passed, but it doesn't mean that the country is thrust into a vote at this moment, but it is certainly raising the political stakes for the minority Liberals.
Yeah, and I just want to be very clear and just reiterate what you just said, because now people are going to say, is there going to be a federal election? Is that it? Does Trudeau and his government fall? That is not the case, correct? Right, Rachel?
That is correct. just because the NDP have pulled out of this deal does not mean the Liberal government has fallen. They still have the confidence of the House of Commons, and that will remain until or if they fall on a confidence vote or some other matter. Now, this Parliament is scheduled to last until June 2025, with the next federal election scheduled for October following. This is certainly becoming a bit of a hotter political dynamic where the Liberals are going to have to look for support on big votes like budgets, things that you would typically consider a matter of confidence from parties. That could still be the NDP, depending on the issue. It could be the Bloc as well. But it's going to be more of a traditional minority parliament, basically what the Liberals were dealing with before this deal came into place in 2022. It was meant to inject stability, prop up the Liberals, keep the Prime Minister in power in exchange for NDP priority issues. And we did see, Todd, a number of big policies advance. Progress was made. I was looking through the deal to get a sense of what was left, and frankly, not much. So maybe that was part of the consideration from the...
I mean, he got some stuff, but like just insulin, the dental care for seniors and, you know, under 18, like these are kind of half-baked solutions he's got in here. It's not like anyone, I can't just go to the dentist and have the free dental care, which isn't free, you know, some portion of it taken off. Like I can't get that. Neither can most of the people around me here, most of the people in Canada, all the people who pay taxes in this country don't get benefits like that. So seeing in the NDP's policies that he has pushed through with Trudeau, they're a sliver of what he promised they would be. So moving over to CBC here, Captain Schmuck was asked about this stuff, and Justin Trudeau didn't know any of this was happening. He was told like minutes before this happened. Brian Lilly posted the original thing on X. Jagmeet Singh then posted the video, and then it all came out. So Trudeau didn't, it's not like he knew for weeks or months or days or even hours. While doing a photo op for a kids' school food program, he's asked about all this stuff.
You would no longer have the support of the NDP. Your party
So she didn't have a mic there, but she said you no longer have the support of the NDP.
is trailing in the polls, and the Conservatives are calling for an election. Is it time to send Canadians to the polls?
We're here today because we're delivering on school lunches and school food for thousands of kids across the province, and we're making investments that are going to be helping hundreds of thousands of kids across the country as people step up. These are the kinds of things that Canadians are looking for. As I traveled across the country this summer, people talk to me about making ends meet. They talk to me about the high cost of rent and the need for more housing. They talk to me about the environment and climate change and the impacts of it. And these are the things that
Really? Are people asking about that? I don't think so. Show me one.
we're focused on. I'll let others focus on politics, but I will point out that I really hope the NDP stays focused on how we can deliver for Canadians, as we have over the past years, rather than focusing on politics.
Is that some sort of sneaky code language to Jagmeet? I think he's still got a deal in the back end. Jagmeet's breaking his deal. It makes him look powerful, but he's just going to keep voting with Trudeau to get his pension. I think there's some dirty dealing there.
Follow?
What will become of the programs that you announced as part of the agreement that you had with the NDP, such as pharmacare and dental care?
Well, we have delivered on dental care. 500,000 Canadian seniors have now accessed dental care just in the past few months, despite Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives' opposition to it every step of the way. 500,000 Canadian seniors have now had dental care, many for the first time in decades. This is a program that has helped Canadians. We still have work to do to continue rolling out dental care, and I hope the NDP will continue to fight for that. This fall, we're going to be moving forward on making sure that nobody has to choose between paying for groceries or rent or paying for much-needed insulin. Pharmacare is going to become a reality as we work on that in the House, and I hope the
So what he keeps saying, I hope the NDP, blah, blah. Basically, he's in a minority government now, so the NDP has to vote every time. They're not just going to guarantee their support with a vote, which is what's going on here. So basically, once a non-confidence vote comes, something that's much bigger, if the NDP votes against him, he doesn't get the support he needs, then it triggers an election.
NDP stays focused on that. As a government, we're going to stay focused on delivering for Canadians at a time where people need that. We have, and the Bank of Canada announcement today underscored that, we have the strongest fiscal position of any country in the G7 right now. My belief, our belief is we need to set that fiscal position to work for Canadians by delivering spaces at $10 a day in daycares across the country, delivering dental care, rolling out to Canadians with disabilities and kids under 18, delivering a school food program that's going to make sure that kids don't sit in class too focused on their bellies rumbling to focus on the teacher.
I mean, Trudeau, that is just you're failing. If people don't have enough food and kids are starving at school, that's because the parents don't have enough money. That is you failing as an absolute loser in this country, Trudeau. And he thinks, oh yeah, we'll get a few apples in that school. That'll take care of the problem.
These are things that Canadians care about and need. These are the things that this government continues to focus on.
Prime Minister Don Bradshaw, NTV, have you had an opportunity to think about what your fall will look like now? Will it be another just a regular return to the House of Commons, or do you now have to start thinking about maybe calling an election before something happens?
I am not focused on politics. I'll let other parties focus on politics. I'm focused on actually delivering the things that Canadians told me this summer they need. I had thousands of conversations with people across the country. Very few of them wanted to talk politics. They wanted to talk how are they going to make sure that they can afford their rent as they get back to school in the fall, how they're going to be able to hope to one day be able to own a home. That's why we're investing in the most ambitious home building program the country has ever seen.
Which conversations is he talking about? The one on the beach where they called him out and he said all he cares about is his vacation? Oh, this guy.
They want to know how we're going to help with the price of groceries. Well, rolling out these school food programs right across the country as more provinces come on board is going to make a real difference in families' bottom lines. I'm focused on Canadians. I'll let the other parties focus on politics.
But with that said, you have to focus on politics at some point when you look at what you're doing. The announcement today, for example, the Bank of Canada rate dropping, it would seem like these...
He's so nutty when he does that. He's like, I already got the answer. Yeah,
would be positive signs that maybe you would want to go to the polls with. So when do you start thinking politically?
Delivering for Canadians?
It's an overconfidence thing, that whole thing he does. He doesn't have the answer. He nods like he does. It's like a posturing thing. He's hiding his emotions.
Is at the heart of what politics is supposed to be about. We're about being there to make sure that as Canadians are hurting, but as our economy is in many ways one of the strongest in the world,
no, it's not.
Certainly in terms of fiscal position,
no,
we should be putting that economy to serve them. That's why we stepped up with $10 a day childcare. That's why we stepped up with dental care. That's why we're continuing to fight for pharmacare. This is why we're drawing in investment.
That's why we stepped up sending millions to the Congo. That's why we stepped up sending millions to Iraq. Oh, Jesus, guy.
Investment from around the world at levels that nobody's ever seen. We're up 60% in foreign direct investment. Last year, we were the #1 country per capita among advanced economies in the G20 for companies wanting to invest in Canada. There is opportunity in Canada that we cannot let slide. That's what we're focused on. An election will come in the coming year, hopefully not till next fall, because
wait, what was that? Hoping not until next fall? Yeah, he just basically said the election, he wants to delay that as long as possible. He's got his buddies to take care of. All those guys like Guilbeault who want to get their full golden pension, they need to have that the election delayed another week. This is interesting because Jagmeet's probably going to squeeze him on that. He's probably going to pull the rug out after he gets his pension, but not allow his little den of thieves to get their pensions.
In the meantime, we're going to deliver for Canadians, and the contrast with a conservative leader that wants to cut dental care, cut the school food program,
Most provinces already have school food programs. He just wants to take credit for these. And look at this, how much he mumbles on this one.
Cut the school food program, cut insulin for through pharmacare, cut money, I want your money, programs that Canadians are relying on to help them through this difficult time, well, that'll be a political decision that Canadians get to take in an election. But in the meantime, I'm not letting down Canadians, and I'm going to stay focused on them.
This guy lies so much. He lies through his teeth. Does every second time he opens his mouth, he just lies. Moving over to CBC, they had one tidbit here I wanted to point out.
Well, the deal was put together in order to deliver some pretty key pieces of legislation and policy, and they're not finished yet. So to that point, it's a bit surprising, and I agree with the Prime Minister. He needs to finish pharmacare. He needs to focus and deliver what was promised, because he will be judged against that, as will, I believe, Mr. Singh. But yeah, it's also, of course, he's also thinking about the politics of it, but part of the politics is delivering the policy.
Right. Matthew, what was...
I mean, I mentioned this earlier. Jagmeet hasn't delivered on his pharmacare, on all these plans, the dental plan, all that. He's going to have to try to spin this like, oh, I got insulin for you guys, though, and I got those 95-year-old grandpas with no teeth dental care.
Your reaction when you saw this, your first reaction?
Well, it's funny because maybe the Prime Minister needs to be a little more political. I know that there's a lot of New Democratic MPs who've been wanting to take the fight to the Conservatives for a long time. They think that he's a phony when it comes to standing up for working people, and it's pretty telling coming from the NDP as the party of working people and wanting to stand up for those folks. And so I think there's just a sense that there's a lot that's been done, there's a lot that's been delivered, but much like the late Ed Broadbent said, people saw that as a criticism of Jagmeet when he pointed out that there need to be a bit of runway to stand on their own 2 feet. I think that's exactly what's happening here. I think it wasn't criticism, it was advice, and I see Jagmeet taking that now and untying the one hand behind the back and doing what the apolitical, supposedly Prime Minister won't do, and actually going head-to-head with Pierre Poilievre and calling him out on the things that he says he will and won't do.
Okay, we're going to dig more.
One thing for sure is once the House of Commons opens back up in like a week and a half, or 2 weeks, things are be getting spicy. It's going to be tossing it not just 2 ways, but 3 ways here.
We're not in a second, but Larissa, your reaction. I mean, you texted me when there was news going around, oh, there's going to be a 1 o'clock news conference, what's going on? What was your reaction when we got the confirmation that SACA was done?
He had to end the agreement. He was ruining the NDP brand, and he was every day reaffirming that he was in a coalition government with the Liberals, which made it impossible to run against the Liberals whenever an election's called. So he had to do it. I don't know if the by-election in Manitoba plays into the timing. I think a lot of NDP supporters are breathing a bit of a sigh of relief today, and a lot of Liberal supporters are kind of, marking the end of the good times, and now it's going to be harder for them.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the by-elections or not, but like the by-elections, return to Parliament, it all sort of aligned. So
Jagmeet has completely ruined the NDP's image. I mean, I said in a previous video, Jack Layton would be rolling in his grave. That party is toast. And so is the Liberal Party. We've also got a panel here on CBC, The National.
But where does it leave the Conservatives, though, Andrew? Because this was the play that Pierre Poilievre was doing in terms of the theater and posturing last week. This is presumably what he wanted. He wanted some to try and move the timeline up, at least, for the election.
Well, he might have preferred to keep Jagmeet Singh squirming a little longer. So Singh was certainly put in the spot by Poilievre's campaign on this, and he's got out from under that. As I say, I think this was in the NDP's long-term plans anyway. But they do not want to cause an election anytime soon. Just look at the fundraising numbers. The other two parties are so far ahead of them. They need some time to create distance. They need time to raise funds.
This is important to note. So anyone watching, if you're thinking elections coming, no, because if they run right now, they're toast. As he said, they need funding. They need to get more support. They need to separate themselves from the Liberals. So they're creating a runway right now. And that's the main thing to pick up here. They want some space so they can try to get more support now. And they had to do it now versus later. I just didn't think they had the balls to do it.
So I don't think this has really advanced the election date really at all.
Does it change anything for the Conservatives, Althea, because they can no longer go after the NDP and the Liberals in the same way?
Oh, but I think that they still will. Like, it is a good thing for the Prime Minister, for the Conservative leader, because it probably means the Prime Minister is staying longer than he possibly might have. It is a good thing for Pierre Poilievre in the sense that he still gets to hang, the sellout Singh-branging over Jagmeet Singh, because the NDP will no doubt still be voting with the Liberals on some policy measures, maybe even on some money bills to get the stuff that it had asked for done. So I don't think it's a bad thing for the Conservatives. I don't think it means that we will have an election in October of 2025. I can see the election timetable moving up. I just do agree that the NDP need more months to redefine themselves. Right now, it's very clear people are voting for Pierre Poilievre as the option for change. He's done a really good job of dismissing Jagmeet Singh as an option for change, but they're not necessarily voting for Pierre Poilievre because of what that Conservative leader is offering. So this gives the NDP a chance to put something else in the window.
That's basically, it gives them a chance. You know, get about, but probably predicting like a year of time to try to change the image a bit and get some more support. And then they'll, that's when they'll probably try to do the vote of non-confidence and call the election, essentially.
I still think those by-elections have become even more important. And it was curious to me today, one, that the government did not see that coming in any way, shape, or form. And two, that so many Liberals were asking themselves, does this mean Justin Trudeau will really lead us in an election or not? It's an interesting question, but it's not the main question that we're asking ourselves, which is, when is the election?
Right.
So the main thing to note is Pierre Poilievre was asked about this, a vote of non-confidence triggering an election. When is the first time this can be done in Parliament? And he said he didn't know because he'd have to look at a schedule to find out when that can be. And it seems, I don't know if they can push these back. Seems likely Jagmeet has probably figured this out and maybe he can push it back or whatever and get it past his pension. He's sellout Singh. Sellout Singh is for himself only.
The major wild card in all this, I think, remains the U.S. election. If you want to know, what might change the course we're on now is if we get a Trump victory in the United States, then that's the kind of thing that could change the calculus for all the parties.
That's an interesting thing to know. Trump, does it have a lot of effect? Well, if Trump wins down there, then you have a right-wing, far-right Republican government. When Pierre Poilievre wins the election up here, you have an entire North America be right-wing. I think just having trade between the countries would be easier because the mindset would be the same. We'll see what happens down in America. Now let's lighten this up a little bit with some memes. Let's check out my group here. We got Trudeau here crying because Singh pulls out. We've got some gas prices here. 2014 gas price, Stephen Harper, 99.9. Yeah, that's less than $1. Here we got 179.9. Justin Trudeau, yeah. We're nearly double the price of gas now. Let me tickle you with my beard. No, then agreement is done. Another setback. Somebody should break the bad news to Stevie regarding his beloved EVs. Volkswagen looks to shut down a pair of EV factories in Germany for the first time. Yeah, I don't know about the EVs. Know the warning signs of a far-right extremist. Full-time employment, literacy, professional or technical degree. Loves his God, country, family, and country. Common sense. Breaking news. Jagmeet Singh pulls out of Trudeau. When you go through your second breakup in 1 year. How come when archaeologists find remains, they're always male or female and never any of the 74 genders? There you have it. Jagmeet Singh, as Pierre Poilievre pointed out with his stunt, pulling the stunt. Still not calling an election. It's just a power move to try to get some more support here. He's creating that runway of a full year to try to get more NDP supporters. He needs the funding. It's not going to work. He's destroyed the NDP. He's destroyed that party. And crumb snatcher Justin Trudeau is sniffing around now. I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to try getting support from the Bloc. Now, the question is, does Justin Trudeau have a secret backdoor deal with Jagmeet, where Jagmeet will keep supporting him with votes, but pretending he's fighting for the working people?